Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mit dem Frau How. Exactly. Hey, whoa, Andy. Hey, I got to go. Listen, I'm the host. I am Between Tarominas. Welcome to today's episode of Between Tarominas. We got Anthony Taromina, of course, Mr. Salvatore Taromina. Boys, good to see you again. We're back sitting down. I feel a little more comfortable, you know?
Yes,
Yeah?
I do.
You like it?
Yes, you know that you got pitchforks coming from your friends in Fort Wayne.
We'll get to that. And we're also going to get to a few things today. A little BCS talk. Michigan State, of course, predictably got screwed, you know. We're going to talk Lions, Sioux, discipline issues. We're going to talk a little NHL realignment, and we have our question of the day. Boys, let's get started with the BCS. First off, I don't go to State. I don't go to U of M. But I thought that was a great game, and I really feel I'm proud of the Spartans. You know what I mean? They represented Michigan well.
Well,
what do you guys think?
Well, Michigan State, you know, like they did represent the state well. They represented, you know, the Big Ten, you know, and, you know, Wisconsin's a really good team, you know, if you look at it, you know, but it was just a tough way for Michigan State to lose and a tough way for the Big Ten championship game to end.
Absolutely.
You know, but Michigan State played them. They played offensively. They played well. Defensively, you know, a lot of it was Wisconsin, but some of it was Michigan State, you know, making mistakes defensively.
Yeah.
You got to give props to Wisconsin for what they did. They, you know, they took Michigan State to limit. Michigan State took Wisconsin limit. It was a really, really good game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It could have won either way, just like what happened in East Lansing.
Yep.
It took a Hail Mary. The Hail Mary ended up being a big play.
Right.
And, you know, you just got to, you know, Wisconsin got the win. They deserved the win. They're in the Big Ten championship game. Michigan State made a couple of mistakes down, you know.
They made some really great, amazing plays, though, as well.
That they did.
And I tell you what, I could watch those two teams play 3 more times this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that every time they've played, it's been a classic so far.
Yeah.
One of the better Big Ten rivalries.
And it's a great way to introduce the Big Ten championship game, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great game to do it in. Boys, let's talk about the bowls a little bit. Michigan versus Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl, what's that all about?
First of all, the Sugar Bowl is probably the most stupidest people. Why would you pick Virginia Tech over Kansas State and Boise State? I mean, come on.
Baylor.
Yeah, you got Baylor as well, but still, I mean, like, why would you pick Virginia Tech, a team that got blown out in the ACC championship game by Clemson? I mean, what in the world has this place gone to? But why would you take Virginia Tech? And also, I don't think Michigan deserves to be there. Because if you look at it, Michigan State beat Michigan by 2 touchdowns.
Well, you look at the BCS, 2 things they're about. Politics, money.
You got to reverse that.
Well.
Money, then politics.
Well, money and politics. I mean,
the fact of the matter is, the bowl system is a business decision. Okay. Aside from the Rose Bowl,
they claimed it was by a computer, but it's not by a computer. It's by dang elites. Dang elites.
Who's Daniel Leaks?
No, not Daniel Leaks. Dang elites.
Oh. Sorry.
If you look,
the BCS needs to be eliminated. It needs to go to a playoff format,
Absolutely.
much like the FCS. Big props to Chris Lum and Lehigh, and you know, it needs to be like that format.
Oh, I agree. It's just if you look at it from that perspective, I mean, like, if you look at it, in my opinion, like, I do agree in the playoff format. They need to go to that. You know, like, just, I don't know, like, what playoff format it would be, but I would prefer a 16-team format. But if the 16-team format happened, if you look at the latest BCS standings, then Michigan State would not be
It
playing
wouldn't
there.
matter if we were talking about Michigan State or Michigan. The BCS as a whole needs to be eliminated.
I agree with you. Chris Peterson, Boise State's coach said that the BCS needs to go. And you know what? I am 100% with Chris Peterson that the BCS must go now.
And you know what? I think maybe this year will open a lot more people's eyes. You know what I mean?
I doubt it, seriously, very much, though.
Well, when you have the head coach of Boise State, who obviously they're not
He's
BCS.
been against the BCS for years.
Well, they're not BCS darlings, okay?
The BCS
But
always hates mid-major schools.
Boise State's coach has always been relatively quiet about issues, and now for him to speak out, how about Oklahoma State?
They got
screwed,
robbed.
too.
How about Oklahoma
Why
State?
would
now?
you? Okay, look, Alabama. You know, Alabama. They're a good, worthy contender. You know,
Right,
but
right.
but if you look at it, Alabama played LSU.
Right.
They lost to LSU in Tuscaloosa.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like, and you're rewarding Alabama, a team who didn't play in their conference championship game. Come on.
What did Nick Saban say a few years ago?
I mean,
He said, "If you don't win your conference, you don't
deserve to play."
Right.
And here's Alabama. They are playing in their conference championship game.
in the national
In the
championship.
national championship game because of what? A computer? Oklahoma State should deserve to be in
A
there.
computer, or should I say elites.
Right.
Oklahoma State should be in the championship game. It should be Oklahoma State versus LSU, not Alabama versus LSU.
It's about money. It's about politics. It's about high elite people of the NCAA.
Yep.
It's all it is.
Yep.
Just greed. Just politics and a corporation. And you said it right. It's a business.
Well, you know what? We'll see. Maybe one day they'll go to the playoff system. Baby steps at first. The bowl system's never going to go away.
No, it's
If they
not.
can develop even an 8-team playoff next year, it'd
And
be
it's
marvelous.
not even right that
I
Michigan
can-
State's in the Outback Bowl.
No.
It
is
is
wrong.
I can just see like a playoff. I can see other teams go to the bowl games, but also maybe an 8 or 16 team playoff.
Yeah, that'd be great. When we get back, we're going to talk a little Lions. Hopefully, the Jets are cooled a little bit, and we'll get to some worthy discussion here on ONTV.
Did you know that you can watch ONTV on the web? How cool is that? Just surf on over to www.orionontv.org to watch your favorite on-TV show. A service of Orion Neighborhood Television.
Orion Neighborhood Television has been your community connection for the last 20 years. From local concerts and sports to resident-made original programming, we are the voice of Lake Orion. Featuring a large professional studio, ONTV can provide you with the tools you need to make a quality program. Our staff is knowledgeable, friendly, and eager to help with your program success. Your voice, your community, on TV.
Can ONTV really be a part of Orion's history? Can a 100-year-old school be moved and preserved?
ONTV, a part of Orion's history since 1986.
All right, welcome back to Between Tarominas. You boys doing all right?
Hanging in there.
Fired up?
Super.
Can't wait till we talk NHL. All right, listen, for now, though, we're going to do some Lions talk. Another national TV game. Another very disappointing game.
How about the word humiliation best describes it? How about embarrassing, humiliation, unbelievable?
How about penalty? Do the referees have it against the Lions this year? I mean, like,
Yes.
they're fourth in the league in penalties. I mean, like, it's not.
Well, here,
you know,
here
and
it
a lot
is.
of,
Well,
and
they've
now
been
I've been hearing
consistent
people
in terms
saying
of
that,
penalties.
and I've been hearing people say that Jim Schwartz has lost control of the Lions. I don't think so.
You don't think
I mean,
so?
this team is virtually playing the Lions' image right now. You know, like playing to Jim Schwartz's potential.
Dave, you know, they've been just consistent. You know, in terms of the penalties, you know, they've been one of the least disciplined teams in the NFL.
And it kind of came to a head against New Orleans with all the personal foul calls.
Well, yeah, but you also, you know, New Orleans is a tough place to play. They're undefeated at home. They're, you know, they've got one of the best quarterbacks.
Hitting a ref or smacking a guy in the face, though, in front of a ref. Can't do it.
No,
well, you can't smack a ref. Well, that's under. I mean, like, you know, but if you look at it, the Lions' defense they looked at times they looked fine, but they looked.
The second half they looked.
The second half they looked fine, but the first half. Can't explain it.
Ian, bottom line, the Lions had their chances to win that game.
I think they did.
They had their chances to win that game at New Orleans. You know, New Orleans seemed beat. The Lions were down, I believe, with it.
They were down 7 with the ball in the early fourth quarter.
Yeah, and they had their chances.
And all this, and the Lions are still in the playoff race.
Well, the Lions got a gift from the Giants, from the Cowboys,
from the Bears,
from
the Bears,
from the Falcons.
All of them losing.
Yep. So now there's a really good opportunity because they play Minnesota at home.
Yeah, they got to win that game.
They got to win that game.
They've got to win. Then they got Oakland out in Oakland. Okay,
that'll not be an easy game.
But it's winnable, though.
I think it's a game they can win.
It's a winnable game, though.
San Diego
will be back for that game.
Can be really interesting because if you look at it, San Diego's going to be an interesting game because, you know, everybody knows about San Diego. San Diego's a team that
they can be very good.
Yeah. They can be good, but they can just be dang awful.
Yeah. And they've pretty much been dang awful this whole year.
And
but they could turn it on.
But the question is, what Sue are we going to see? I mean, you heard about the accident, right?
Absolutely.
The accident. I mean, now that it looks like it's not an accident, and it's, you know, they had to revamp the police report.
Right. Well, you had some people come out that said they were in the car and eyewitnesses on the side of the road.
Yeah, but can you question their credibility?
I question Sue's explanation
credibility.
Because after he stomped the guy, what he said really was mind-boggling. Like he was trying to get away.
It's like, you know somebody's got to sit Sue down and just talk to them about these issues. Because, like, if you look at it from that perspective, I think there's a huge problem with the Domicong Sue.
I wonder if the suspension is affecting him a lot more than what we are seeing. I think the way it looks like, I think the suspension might be affecting him a little bit.
You know, the way he talks in the media and everything, he acts like he tries to turn everything into a positive.
Yeah, well,
so far, the suspension, we've seen nothing positive come from it.
No.
And it's almost destroying the Lions' season. If you look at it, the Lions have lost 5 of the last 7 games. They
have a lot more problems, though, right now than just Sue.
They need to fix
Dalmas is out. Chris Houston is out. Kevin Smith,
injuries.
Don't know how long he'll be out.
They have to fix a lot of things.
They got to fix the injuries. You know what I mean? I mean, Anthony, you're right. You know, Jim Schwartz has got to be held accountable if the Lions don't make the playoffs.
So do you think...
I wouldn't blame him for that, though.
Do you think he has lost control from his team, or do you think this is just a period of non-discipline?
I think every team goes through a period of non-discipline.
Right. They're getting amped up. They're in New Orleans. They kind of feel they have to win this one.
They're very emotional. They're very, football is all about emotion.
And they're very
young.
Also,
yes, they're young too, young and experienced as well. So that doesn't help things win.
Even the veterans on this team have not won anything ever.
And I mean, you get that feeling when you're not winning.
Right.
And now you're suddenly starting to win. You're just getting.
Well, if you look at it, the Lions traditionally have been the lovable losers. I think you know that it's starting to affect, you know, maybe the culture is starting to affect them. Maybe that but I don't think Jim Schwartz has lost control of this team but you know, now he's got to fix it. You know, he's the head coach and he's got to take accountability for his actions.
I think Jim Schwartz needs to convey the message. Look at that bling. Wow.
Thank you.
I think Schwartz needs to convey the message that these are not the losing Lions anymore. They do have a great opportunity to make the playoffs and to make some noise in the playoffs. Yep. And they need to knock off the extracurriculars after the whistle.
Well, it starts next week with Minnesota, division rival. See how it goes. Adrian Peterson might not play.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes.
Got a rookie quarterback. He's playing well.
Ponder, yep.
But, Ford Field.
He's no Donovan McNabb who got released just last week.
No.
We'll see. We'll see what happens though, and we'll discuss it on next issue of Between Tarominas. We're gonna go to a break. We come back. We're gonna talk a little NHL realignment and our question of the day from the viewers.
Uh-oh.
You're watching Between Tarominas.
Can ONTV really change the way you see Orion? Can a community hold a talent show to raise mental health awareness?
ONTV, a part of Orion's history since 1986. Video classes are now enrolling. Call 248-693-3377 to reserve your seat today. A service of Orion Neighborhood Television. This is you, and this is your community. You have a great idea, but how do you get that idea to your community? ONTV has your answer. You see, ONTV is a part of your community. We help you get your idea on cable, so everyone you know will learn about your great idea. So, what are you waiting for? Get your idea on cable and into your community. Get your idea on TV.
Welcome back to Between Tarominas. Our last segment of the day, we're going to focus on a little hockey. Big news in the NHL. Realignment, conference realignment takes effect next year. Yes? We've got basically 4 conferences, 7 and 8 team conferences.
We have 2 8-team conferences and 2 17 conferences.
And the Red Wings are in Conference B. I don't know what they're going to call it, but right now it's called Conference B.
Stars.
Well, so are the Stars, but I don't consider them a hockey team.
Yeah, they are a hockey team.
Okay, do you guys like the move from 2 to 4 conferences? How does it affect everything? You know, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, like, if you look at it, there were some winners and there were some losers in all this. I think a big winner of the, I like it because, like, it helps with them travel, you know, because, like, especially for the perennial Western Conference, you know, like, if you look at it from that perspective, if you look at the winners, I think Dallas, of course, was a winner because because now they're in the Central Time Zone, you know, because they used to be playing in the Pacific Time Zone for about at least 6 times a year. And then, like, I also look at Detroit as a winner as well because they don't have to travel to the West Coast a lot, you know. But I still think that I like it a lot because it increases the competition level of. And then, of course, it's important to win your conference, and then and to
4 teams from each conference.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit in terms of whether or not the Wings were a winner or not, because I really truly thought the Wings were going to go within the Eastern Time Zone and play those teams from the Eastern Conference, the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets, especially with they are Eastern Time Zone teams, and one team that I thought did not, I thought Tampa Bay and Florida are the 2 teams that didn't benefit from this because they have to play Boston, they have to play Tampa Bay, or they have to play Boston, they have to play Buffalo, they have to play, I mean, and realistically, they should have been in Conference D, and they should have moved the 2 New York teams to Conference C.
Well, I mean,
more based if you want to talk about geographical location.
Well, let's look at it from that perspective. If you look at it, I mean, like, if you put both New York teams, like with Buffalo, Toronto, and all them, I mean, like, then you're gonna put Pittsburgh, Washington, Tampa Bay together, Florida together, but I think the NHL got it right. That's something that maybe needs to be looked at in the near future. But also got to look at New Jersey. What would New Jersey be without the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders?
As a proud Avs fan, I do not like where obviously got to deal with the Sharks 6 times, the Kings and the Ducks and the. They got to deal with that. Whereas the Stars have got to deal with the Wings 6 times.
All right, how about
Imagine
this,
that.
though? Let's move past the new conferences. Every team is going to play home and home this year,
Correct.
against every team.
The
That's
playoff
great.
system too.
The playoffs. How do you feel about that? Where Conference A will have 4 teams. Every conference is going to have 4 teams, correct? A plays B. Or wait, you play within your conference.
Yeah, you play in your conference first 2 rounds,
Yes.
and then you get to play
Top 4.
Top 4, yeah.
How do you guys like that?
It's very interesting because, like, if you look at it, we had this format last year. The Los Angeles Kings do not make the playoffs and of course you have the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks both make the playoffs that year. I mean, like, if there is, I think the system, if you're the 5th place team in your conference, man, it's going to be rough for you.
I think it'll make it more competitive. I think
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I think once it gets going, we'll see how it goes.
It's kind of like baseball almost with smaller conferences, a lot more play within division.
I think it's going to be good for the NHL long term. I think it's really good that they can get the that they can do that with with obviously the players and the owners agreeing to it, unlike certain other conferences, a la NBA.
Yeah, and I think a lot more rivalries will be created and renewed because of you're going to play every team, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a lot of good rivalries. You got Detroit, Chicago,
Detroit, Toronto, Detroit, Montreal, Detroit, Boston.
We also got Dallas,
Detroit
Edmonton,
Rangers.
Dallas, Minnesota. You got.
What about Colorado?
All right, we're going to talk about our question of the day here, submitted from Clyde in Oxford, Michigan. Clyde, on his John Deere tractor, would like to know, is this Lake Orion and Oxford rivalry renewed? Are we back to where it was when we were in diapers? When they played, I don't know.
Something
Clyde
tells
wants to
me
know.
you did not watch the Lake Orion Oxford rivalry from back in the day. I will tell you what,
Sure didn't.
it's still around.
Do you
I
think
mean,
it's-
it's
do you think
always
it's-
been around. It's just football. It recently got renewed, last year, and then obviously we saw what happened this year. I would say it's been there in other sports: basketball, volleyball, wrestling, track, cross country.
Do you think it takes
baseball.
away, or not takes away from, but do you think it's going to be at like Lake Orion and Clarkston, Lake Orion and Adams, big competitor? Do you think it's going to hit that level?
I
or-
think it's going to eventually hit that level in time.
Again.
But if you look at it from that perspective, I think Lake Orion and Clark and Oxford's always been one of the top rivalries, and no matter what the sport is, but would be a great matchup would be if these two teams would take on each other like in a later round. You know what I mean? That would be great, but I don't think that's going to ever happen because both teams are so geographically close to each other, and that's
I think with Oxford always tends to view Lake Orion as that big villain to the north, or that big brother to the north. Oxford has that tendency to. I have nothing against Oxford or the South.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Oxford at all. I really don't. I just feel like that's how Oxford people tend to see those in Lake Orion, and obviously, the rivalry got so vicious that it had to stop in football in 1984.
Is ONTV picked up in Oxford anywhere, do you think? I don't know, because you hate Oxford, and you might have a mark on your back if people can watch this.
To be honest with you, I've always had a mark at Oxford for several reasons.
I'm worried for you.
In basketball back in the day, I mean, I was a very well-known figure within the Oxford community, not for good reasons.
Well, this isn't helping.
I know it.
Well, if you look at the Lake Orion Oxford rivalry, I think that it's personally, me from a personal perspective, it's still there, and it's still going to continue to be there, as long as you have a rival to the north and a rival to the south. That rivalry is still going to continue, no matter what sport it is. If it's football, basketball, volleyball, track, cross country, golf, etc. That you have an obligation. For Lake Orion, it's an obligation to beat Oxford, and for Oxford, it's an obligation to beat Lake Orion.
It's always healthy to have rivalries.
Sure is, especially when they're close by, Mm-hmm. All right, boys, any final words? Any words of encouragement for the viewers out there?
First off, I'd like to give a shout out to Mark Vick, the video coordinator at Rice University in Houston, Texas. Big fan of our show. Rice is currently 6-2. Keep up the good work.
I also like to, it's been a good. I mean, like give a good shout out to, all of you people from tuning in the show, and of course Pat Ronan.
Who's that?
We have no idea.
Oh, okay.
And also, for Michigan State fans, for Spartan fans, stay strong. You know what I mean? Be thankful you're going to the Outback. Be thankful you're going to the Outback Bowl. You know, you're playing Georgia, very good team. But
Kirk Cousins has one last chance.
Yep.
All right.
People in Fort Wayne want to kill you, right?
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. We'll talk about that later. All right. Thank you very much for joining us on Between Tarominas. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. God
Bye.
love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.